Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here at the News Forum, where all voices matter. I want to welcome back our guest, Dr. Gabor Lukacs. He is the president and founder of Air Passenger Rights, an organization dedicated to the rights of air passengers and the accountability of the airline sector. Welcome back.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me back.
So I do want to talk a little bit about the holidays because we're getting into the holiday travel season, and there always seems to be a lot of travel chaos around this time of year. Why is that, and is there any possible solution?
The reason that we have seen for what we have seen in the past year is primarily because airlines have been overcommitting themselves and overcommitting the airports. Every facility, every resource has a limit of capacity. If you need to pass in a given amount of passengers in a given amount of time, you need a given amount of staff members. And airlines did not have that many staff members. Airports didn't have that many staff members. And airlines sold tickets knowing that there was inadequate staffing. So I don't blame the airports or CBSA or CATSA for this. But the fault is with the airlines that actually sold tickets irresponsibly, knowing that the facilities, the capacities weren't there. We have seen something similar happen also during last year's holiday travel season, when airlines have not been able to rapidly recover from weather issues, which we understand weather happens, but once weather happens, you should be recovering quickly. And again, it came down, at least in part, if not entirely, to staffing problems, organizational issues. There has been a significant reckoning happening since then. There was a parliamentary committee calling in airline executives to testify and to explain what they were doing, what they weren't doing. So I would hope that in the current political climate, this holiday season may be slightly better than last year's, just because the airlines know that if they create a problem once again, if they don't take care of things to go smoothly once again, there will be even bigger consequences and even more regulation coming their way. So as a passenger rights advocate, half of me wishes that there will be another meltdown because that will prove that we need firmer regulations. Half of me wishes for really smooth travels for the passengers' sake. In terms of the current set of rules, they have not been in a meaningful way updated since last year. The government is trying to present the Budget Implementation Act as the solution for all the woes of passengers, but I don't see it that way. I'm having significant concerns that unless Canada adopts a regime that mirrors to a great extent the European Union's gold standard, the problems that have been happening in the past will continue to happen again.
That's very sobering, but I think you've hit the nail on the head. A part of it is managerial issues, and part of it is getting the right personnel in the sufficient quantities to make sure that the travel is more efficient. I mean, can technology help drive some of these issues to give consumers more rights and satisfaction?
I'm not entirely sure how technology can help if the airline has staffing issues, if they don't have adequate number of backup aircraft, if they may not be doing some preventive maintenance in advance and wait until something breaks down. And I could go on with the list.
Right.
What would help is ensuring that each time things go wrong, for reasons other than genuine act of God, like snowstorm, the airline faces some financial consequence that is sufficiently high in its magnitude to make it less profitable to let mistakes of this nature happen, and instead actually have more contingencies, better organization, more staff.
And also greater enforcement. I think you've emphasized that in the past.
Enforcement is obviously part and parcel of it, that without enforcement, even the best possible set of regulations would be worthless. But the problem in the current regulations and how they are built is that it very much encourages breaking them. So I would say that a reasonable airline executive in the current regime would likely decide that actually breaking the regulations is the right corporate decision because it may be unlawful, but even with the fine that the airline has to pay, it's more profitable to
Right.
pay that than to comply. And
We're,
that is not the fault of the airline, but the fault of those who are making the regulation, which is the
right.
government.